Okay, so today the trailer for Terrifier 3 came out, and it looks really good. Um, and so I have Terrifier in the mind, so I thought I'd talk about it. So the third one is going to take place like 5 years after Terrifier 2, and it's a direct sequel. They're building on the events of Terrifier 2 in a way that didn't happen between 1 and 2. Terrifier 1 was pretty much its own thing. You didn't have to see the first one to understand the second at all. I know because I actually watched the second one before I saw the first one. So, and at this point, I've seen the first one twice. I've seen the second one 3 times. So it's not like I'm a huge fan of these movies. You know, where I'm obsessed with them and watch them on a regular basis. I'm not that kind of fan. There are those types of fans, and I'm happy that they're happy. And I do basically enjoy these films, even if I'm not, up there in my enthusiasm. But I am excited about Terrifier 3. Looks to be a good time. Looks to be it's promising. Looks to be a fun horror film. It's got Art the Clown with a chainsaw. That's a beautiful image. I don't think we've seen that before. I may be forgetting something, but I don't think we've seen him with a chainsaw before. That's a good combination. And of course, that takes place at the same moment that we have the two people making out in the shower, which is a classic kind of horror scene, slasher scene. And it always kind of bugs me when I see in movies where people are making out in the shower, because I'm just like, you're wasting water. just start, either wash yourselves or turn off the water and get into bed. Stop wasting water. So here we have Art the Clown taking down the water wasters. And more of Sienna and her brother, the Terrifier itself. It sounds like she might be going to retrieve the sword from the Terrifier. That's what it sounds like. And which is very exciting because I'm very interested in that sword, the background of that sword, what that sword is. And we're gonna be, and her brother is clearly making, saying things like that Sienna is actually a threat to Art, like the only threat to Art. So they're definitely building up that natural antagonism between them, like villain and arch villain, heroine, I guess. They're building that up, and they may actually explain that. So we may get a bunch of explanations for things. We may not, but it looks to be a good time. So yeah, more of Art, more of Sienna. A Christmas movie instead of a Halloween film this time. The first two, of course, take place on Halloween. And when I first saw that this was going to be a Christmas movie, I wasn't really particularly happy about that. But seeing this trailer, I'm like, yeah, this could work. This could definitely work. So, and anyway, Art the Clown I'm happy for Damien Leone. He's been working on this character in this world for a while. I think the prototype of Art was in like 2011, 2012. All Hallows Eve, I think. Maybe I still haven't watched. I started watching it one time. I didn't get through it. I guess I gotta make myself watch that at some point. And then 2016, they made the first Terrifier, which became kind of a cult favorite among certain horror fans. I didn't even know of its existence until like a year before its sequel came out. I saw there was a meme on Twitter that someone had put about the Simpsons kids watching a movie and enjoying it, up until the moment where you have the central kill of that film, where the girl gets the young woman gets cut in half lengthwise with a hacksaw, and then it shows them freaking out. But that got me interested. I was like, what is this movie? I need to watch it. One of the great things about I'm just spitballing here off the top of my head. One of the great things about these movies is, so far, that the characters are all likable. In so many modern films and horror films and others, a lot of the characters just aren't likable to me. And therefore I don't enjoy the film. I don't care what happens because I just am irritated that these characters exist. But not so in the Terrifier movies. I like all the characters in the Terrifier movies. The girls in the first Terrifier, the guys in the first Terrifier, and then in Terrifier 2, there's no actual unlikable character. There's no character you want to see die. Not for me, anyway. There's no character where I'm like, yeah, Art, get them. But Art the Clown is kind of a unique slasher villain, and these basically are slasher films, right? One way in which he's a unique slasher villain is he is a pantomime character. Cat. Hey. I don't know if you can see that or not. But he's a pantomime character. He doesn't say anything, which is similar to Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers. They don't say anything either, but they have masks. They don't have expressions. Whereas Art does have expressions. Let me stand up here. So he's kind of a cross between those. Freddy Krueger has expressions, but he also talks. So Art is kind of right between there. He doesn't talk, but he does have expressions. He does have body language. And the guy who plays him does a really good job with that, with playing that very kind of really traditional mime clown type of character. Of course, some of his expressions have become quite famous and have been memed and gifted all over the place. Like in Terrifier 2, where you have his Sienna's left the Halloween shop. Of course, in the Halloween shop, he's playing, trying on the glasses, and that's funny. And then after Sienna leaves, and he's going to purchase the little horn thingy, and he's trying to find money to buy with it, and he's taking stuff out of his bag and put it on the counter. And finally, that guy behind the counter is like, "Hey!" And Art's like, yeah. It's great, good stuff. And so he's interesting, unique as a pantomime character. He's unique in that he doesn't have any backstory yet. We might get backstory on him in 3, maybe. And the connection between him and Sienna will probably be a part of that. But in the first 2 films, he doesn't really have background, just a little bit of hint in part 2. But in other slasher films, you usually have a backstory. In Halloween, you have the 6-year-old Michael Myers, killing his sister, and then Dr. Loomis taking Michael under his wing, and eventually realizing that Michael Myers is just pure frickin' evil, like Bob Iger. And maybe not quite that evil. But anyway, then in Friday the 13th, you have the backstory of Jason drowning in Camp Crystal Lake while the counselors are off getting jiggy with it. And then in Nightmare on Elm Street, you have the backstory of Freddy Krueger being the filthy child murderer burned to death by vigilante parents after he got off on a technicality, right? Those are the backstories that to those stories that happen before the main action of those stories. You don't have that in the Terrifier films so far. So far, art just is, as well as that little girl that is in Terrifier 2, who I thought at first was Art the Clown's, just a figment of Art the Clown's imagination. When she first appears in the laundromat, I thought he was just imagining her, because you do have that scene of him playing patty cake by himself, as seen by the guy who works, I guess, was working at the laundromat. It's also hilarious to me. The last time I was watching that part of Terrifier 2, because sometimes I watch just pieces of these things, it's hilarious to me that Art the Clown actually cleans up. He kills the dude, and then he actually mops the floor up. Okay. Here's the guy who leaves messages in blood, but he likes a clean floor. All right. But anyway, I thought she was that little pale little art girl, whatever, was his imagination. But then you get to the end of the film, and she's holding his head. Spoiler. And I'm like, okay, I guess she's not a figment of his imagination. What's going on here? So, what's her backstory? What's his backstory? There's no backstory. They just are. And they're pretty cool as they are. And then another way in which Art is unique as a slasher movie villain is that he actually uses guns. Which was one of the things that shocked me the most when I watched these movies. Because horror villains slasher villains never use guns. They have their basic, weapon that they have. Freddy has his claw, his metal claw. Jason has his machete. Michael has his kitchen knife. And then they have other ways of killing creatively. But those are their main villains. But weapons. Work, mouth, work. But they never use guns. And Art sometimes does. And the first time was really shocking because he was killing a character that I didn't expect to see die and didn't want to die because I liked her. I was rooting for her. So when it comes to that part of the film where he pulls out a gun and bang, 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 and it's like, I'm like, okay. So he uses guns, and she's not the final girl. Well, okay, things just changed here. The script just got flipped a little bit here. And then in Terrifier 2, of course, he uses a machine gun in the dream sequence, or a Tommy gun, or whatever that thing is. And, I don't know, guns. And then he uses, I think, a shotgun later on when he's in the car. Yeah. So a pretty unique, pretty cool villain whose popularity has skyrocketed in the last few years. Last couple, 2-3 years. And good on Damien Leone for persevering and for success. He's been doing this for a while, and when you're in that business and you're losing a lot of sleep and trying to stretch every dollar, and it takes a lot of effort, a lot of resources, a lot of dedication and talent to get these things done. And he's been going at it, and it's become successful for him. So good for him. There are a lot of horror fans out there who are glad to be along for the ride, and others who aren't. There's some horror fans who hate these films. Okay. I can't really argue with that. I can't really argue that these are like great pieces of art and great pieces of storytelling, because they're not really designed to be, you know, they're definitely ain't Oscar bait. You know, they're designed to be entertainment, horror entertainment. That's what they're designed to be, and that's what they basically are. Um, uh, and they work for some people, they don't work for others. Um, so yeah, and then like I said, the characters are likable, and I thought the dynamic between Sienna and her brother was really good in Terrifier 2. They actually felt like siblings. I believed that dynamic. And then the woman who played the mother, I thought did a really good job of being this basically good woman who's under a lot of she's a lot of stress. Um, she's got a lot to deal with. So yeah, she yells a lot, but she's also quite sympathetic at the same time. I feel anyway. I thought the actress sold both sides of that pretty well. Um, and of course, you know, you have that phone call uh, between her and Sienna, where Sienna's under the influence, but is expressing genuine love for her mother. Um, and then you have the girl who is the victim of the main kill of Terrifier 2. Another really likable character. I was sorry to see her taken down like that, because, again, she was a character I was rooting for. Damien Leone has these characters you like, and you don't actually want to see them. Horrible things happen to them, and then art happens to them. Art the Clown, that is. All right. But, anyway. Yeah, nothing fancy, just a spur-of-the-moment video, because I had Terrifier on the mind. um, and I don't want to make it too long. It's already 17 minutes in. I guess I'll shut up now. Thanks for listening.